Fernanda, I'm so
Hey,
happy
Kitty.
that you're joining your time with me for this interview. Welcome.
Thank you, Kitty, for the invite. When someone of your caliber within the IPNFA invites another instructor, who can deny Kitty? So a pleasure, Kitty Cats, to be here.
Oh, thanks a lot. You are so kind. So, Fernanda, I start the interview asking my partner for the interview, how was your decision that you are now for a long time PT? How did
Oh,
you go?
it's an interesting question because I've been questioning that myself. I guess at the age of 17, when one has to choose a university or a career pathway for life, I don't know if we are very clear on what we want to do. So I remember willing just to be a lot of things, which I'm not going to make a list because it was too long. But I remember being young and having a problem with my neck, having a wry neck, and my parents took me to a physio, and that gentleman fixed it. So then probably stay in my head, and I said like, okay, we're going to try physio. And the first year, I found it fascinating because where I study, which is in South America, in Argentina, the first year is common to medicine. You study physio at medicine university. So you start a lot of, anatomy, histology, physiology, audiologies. And I found it interesting, but it was not until the second year when I did my first practice, I was 18, and my first practice was in a spinal cord unit, in which I found, yes, this is what I wanted to do. And from there and then it was nonstop. So I guess it was not until I actually was in the field, seeing what other physios were doing with real patients, that really said, I thought, yes, this is what I want to do. So
Great.
yeah, that's how I end up being a physio.
Yeah, great. And you
30,
answered,
33, 34 years now. Kitty, 34. I think it's I've been a physio 34
yeah,
years, yes.
this is what I'm saying all the time. We are dinos in the PT
Well,
world.
our gray hair is not is fashion, but it
Yes,
also shows our age.
yes. So you answer already another question. You said
Yes.
already you start also with spinal cord injury and you
Yes.
stay with this long time, right?
I
Till,
yes, I always did spinal cord and stroke.
Mhm.
And when I moved to Australia, it's Australia is quite interesting because it's even more specialized than South America. Because I remember that in any main hospital in South America, there's a spinal cord unit. It's not the reality here in Australia. Fortunately for the people that live here, there's not a lot of spinal cord injuries,
Mm.
so there's not spinal cord injuries in all the major hospitals. So it's very, very specialized. So since I moved here, I have to even specialize more. So I do in the hospital spinal cord, and then I do in my private time some stroke.
Great, great.
Yes,
We come back to your hospital, but I would like
yes,
to go back because we
back.
back, yes, because the people need to know that you are the only native Spanish speaker instructor and you get educated in
Yes,
other South
Argentina.
America country. Yes,
Yes,
Argentina. And when we meet for the first time,
I know.
assistants, you still were living in Australia, but
Argentina, yeah, Buenos Aires.
you were
Yeah,
thinking already to move to Australia. I remember in
indeed.
1999 must be around this.
Kitty, don't say that. People are going to guess our age.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
It's, you know what it is, Kitty? It's interesting because I was born in Argentina, but my family is purely from Italy. So I guess that though I was born there, I always had this, little gene of being, I don't know, a migrant and traveling the world and living and studying somewhere else. So I always say that, I don't know, a person can find their own home wherever they find their home. And I'm thankful to the country where I was born, because I became a physio there. I'm thankful to California, because I learned PNF to start with in Vallejo. I did my 3-month program. I did my 6-month program. I'm thankful to instructors like you that opened their home to me and taught me lots of the things that I know. So I guess that, like, we influence each other regardless of the country we were born. And in saying that, as I said, there was always the idea of just like, moving from one place to another. And over 20 years, or more than 20 years now, Australia has been home for my family and I. And we've been here since, and we found a nice hospital to work. We made new friends. So finally we managed just to move my mom and my dad across, so the whole family. So I guess, like, when you're a migrant, you're a migrant.
Yeah.
And so Australia has been home, so we're happy here. So, but
Right.
again, who knows? When I retire, we might go back to Italy, we might go back to Argentina. Who knows, kids?
Great.
The world is so big.
Yeah. But we have to add, since you are teaching as an IPNFA instructor, you
Yes.
also was the very first that you also teaching in South America in a few countries. And
Yes.
as I know, you built up a great group with new, younger PTs that they
Yes.
really get infected with PNF as well, right? Yeah.
I like going back to South America. It's probably not that I don't feel home in Australia, don't get me wrong, but probably culturally and the way we engage with patients, I feel a bit more related to that part of the world. I've been lucky enough to teach in my country of origin, which is Argentina. I have a splendid relationship with Peru. We opened Peru, we opened Mexico. I had the opportunity, same way I mentioned a lot of important people in my career, and I cannot not mention Matt Back. I remember we were in Poland, I think it was, and then I was finishing, I was ready to start my instructorship, and then he says, Fernanda, I'm going to Mexico next month, want just to do, your first assistantship. And I thought I was just in heaven. And there I went to Mexico, like, I don't know how many years ago. And since then, I got in touch with beautiful people. Well, you know them, you've been in Mexico already. So they're very passionate just to develop, to help patients. Then we met people from Peru, the people from Peru. And again, I'm going to be in Chile next year, and of course Argentina. So I think that there's a fire in physios in South America. I guess it's the Latin blood, and they are very, very committed just to get the best for patients. And probably sometimes in comparison to other countries, sometimes we don't have the technology or all the fancy gadgets. But it doesn't matter, because the strength and the passion that those physios have is just second to none. So
yeah, right. And I could feel this, like you said. I have the chance one time to be in Mexico as well with you, and I also have the big advantage to be in Brazil a few times, and you are totally right.
I know.
So the connection between the patient and the PTs in the South America country, I'm saying all the time, they are countries with a big open heart, and this is totally different to Europe. And for this, I also love the whole South America area. even it's not all the time very comfortable for us if you're not growing up, if you're not understanding. It's a kind
but you realize how much they love you, because you remember that they gave us the bracelet. So
great.
It's great. I guess that and what I like is that even the new generations, they're so warm and they're so open and so dedicated. It's lovely. It's lovely to see.
Absolutely. And this is, I think, really when we grow up, and you grow up in this country in Argentina, so these are our roots, and the roots are really pretty much get us how we develop and how we handle our whole life, right? And it's totally different. I could feel this in this country. That's so great.
But I guess this has to do, I always say, like, my genes are Italian and I was born and raised in South America. You cannot get more passionate than that.
Right. Yeah, that's
and I guess that we put that in action with the patients. And I guess when talking about PNF, it's a tool, because though PNF can be hands-off, one of the things that I like about PNF is that it's so hands-on. And I always believe that the first thing that makes the patient better or the person better is the positive approach, is knowing that there's someone there for them, really looking at their best interest and just trying what's best for them. And I always believe that PNF was the perfect tool for me, because it enabled me just to really achieve the best that they can. So I think that it's a perfect combination, because it's the passion of the physio and the positivity of PNF, and again all the beautiful things that we can talk about PNF. But I guess it's a very powerful combination.
And I think it's what is also very important, that you are the native speaker. And that's so great, and we don't have another one. Native speaker.
Well, I'm really crossing my fingers that whether from Mexico or from Peru, because hopefully, they are the ones that they have the most advanced courses. So there will be another one. I always say the guys that because that I've been teaching in Mexico and Peru and Argentina for years, and I always say I feel a lot of responsibility being the only native speaker, and I think that it's a pity or it's a shame that there's nobody else just to continue or help me, or just like so we can multiply. But I think that you've seen them growing. They're just like, we have beautiful prospects. So I think that there's a lot of beautiful potential candidates for instructors in Spanish speaking Spanish speakers. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that soon we're gonna start with
education.
Trips,
it's important. Hopefully. It's important when you go back.
It's very important.
20 years was the same story in Japan, in South Korea. So we have really wide area there, and I'd like to try and help them to educate, to have also in South America few more international IPNFA instructors. We will do.
We have to account that maybe sometimes in South America the financial situation is a bit of a deterrent. So it's not because there's lack of interest, but sometimes the financial situation gets in the middle. So, but I'm confident that we're on a good path. Like we've been encouraging a lot of people, and I always say every time that I go on a course, I allow people that they take in the course just to come and repeat it if they want. And I'm not going to name names because we're in an interview, but that there's a few of them that they've been just like some of them have done 15 basic courses already. So I think that we have good instructor material. And again, I think that the beauty is in the variety, Kitty, because I am my way, I teach my way. And I think that the possibility just to have another native speaker instructors will bring and will add to the conversation.
Absolutely. So
Yes.
I really like to say thank you for this, that you are still traveling there and you really pushing and build up a group there. And I really have to say I was very much impressed when I have the chance the first time to go there. And I'm sure we will have in a few years a great group there.
The first time of many, Kitty, the first time of many in which we're going to be co-teaching in South America. The first of many, as we talked about.
As long I'm allowed to travel and I'm allowed to teach, then I will go.
Because that's the other beauty, Kitty Cat, because like I co-teach with you, right? And for me, and maybe this is something that I think it transpires in courses or maybe not, but like we have a relationship in which like you will always be my mentor. Because like you were my mentor when I studied and you're a senior instructor and I always told you're a pillar within the IPNFA. So just co-teaching with someone like you, there's always something to learn. I remember being in Mexico saying, hey, show this thing. And so lots of these things that you can do. So I always believe that the co-teaching, it's always nourishing for the organizers. So in this case, me.
This is very important. The co-teaching with a lot of different instructors, because we all of us, as long you are teaching, you learn a lot from other ones, because everybody of us have special style. So really, thanks for this. We like to talk about you. So going back to Australia, I know you are working in a huge hospital, but you also serve for the IPNFA for a long time. So you have been in the grievance committee for a very long time, and then you are now in the research committee, and your clinic is also doing a lot of research. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I always feel that physios doing research is very important. I think that physios, younger physios particularly, are struggling with this research idea. And I always say in the courses, we cannot lose perspective that research started with the pharmacological industry. When it's easier just to find an inclusion criteria, an exclusion criteria, and we take a blood test and then we know what happened. Physio is a soft career. So I always kind of like giggle when the year is 2025 and we still use goniometers, or we measure muscle power by pushing against our hands. So I find that, so I understand that in some aspects, research is necessary. I find this, I guess that the difficulty with research is that if we are purely working towards research, we are missing the human factor that other industries don't have. There's a lot of evidence showing that patients get better by someone chatting in a positive manner towards them. So I think research is super interesting. We've been doing a lot of research when it comes to the ability to recover, the possibility to walk in spinal cords. We are finalizing now intensive therapy for patients. We participated in another one, which is gaming and therapy for stroke. So we're doing a lot of things in the hospital that I work. Unfortunately, with research, nothing is conclusive. Every time that we finish something, yes, we can demonstrate that things are getting better, but we haven't found the be-all of physio. So we will keep on trying. I think that in this time and age, it's important that the intention of doing research is there.
Yes.
I think that one of the disadvantages of PNF is that we are in an era in which a randomized controlled trial is just like the be-all. And the problem is that when you have to apply PNF, if you're not very good, or you're just like in the forming years of PNF, then the PNF that you can probably provide is not the same to the one that you can provide, Kitty. So that's probably when it gets tricky to provide with a lot of RCAs for PNF. But there's a lot of, like in the committee, in the research committee, we meet monthly or bi-monthly, and we review constantly a lot of articles that they are published in our website. We are really, really strict in what is it that we like there or not. And the funny thing is that even when sometimes we don't agree, we just actually have a second round of reading the articles, and then we say like, yes. So I think that there's a lot of research behind PNF. With some hurdles, like every other industry, but I think that PNF has stood up in its legs, showing that it's a very well established concept.
Great. Yeah, I'm totally with you. If we get pushed years ago as well in Germany that we only have to do evidence-based practice treatment, like you said, we totally miss the personal factor from patient.
Absolutely.
And for this, I love the positive approach, see the whole human being. So there are much more parts you cannot really pushing in a really deep research. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, always, research is super important, but what we cannot miss size is that we are just dealing with human beings and with the rehab of human beings. We're not giving pills for them to get better. Is that what we can elicit from them? So it's a different game. It's a different category.
Yeah.
But important. Research is super important, and we demonstrate that in our website. There's a lot of articles there.
Yeah, great. Thanks. So what would you say when you get asked from young colleagues, or later on, hopefully, assistant in South America? What is on one hand the most important part, being a PT as well? Second part of the question, the most important thing in PNF. What would you think about this?
PNF is easy because it's everything. One of the things I did a lot of courses, because I always say, Kitty, that for a physio, each concept, there are myriads of concepts out there that we can just attend, postgraduate courses that we can attend. And I always say that there's value in taking lots of approaches, because it's like having a toolbox. You don't fix everything in a house with a hammer or with a screwdriver. You need pliers, so there's a lot of things that you need. And I find concepts, techniques, just that. In my case, my main tool is PNF. But what I found PNF is the most valuable for is that it helped me organize my treatment. Because what I found with other concepts is that you can have good ideas. Yes, I'm not going to name which concepts, but there are lots of good ideas. But what I found with PNF, is the clinical reasoning, is just like to understand what I'm doing, why I'm doing, for which patient, at which point in the treatment. So I guess the clinical reasoning and the thinking, and going back just to motor development, I think it has helped me organize and take the treatments to the next level. I think the part of the course in which we treat patients and we ask them, okay, tell me what you're going to do with that person. Show me. Give me an example. What's the test? What's the post-test? Force the physios to think, because they have lots of good ideas, but sometimes they struggle in putting the ideas together. And I think that PNF is very powerful in that. What I would say to any physio or any assistantship is that they need to be the best version of themselves.
Great.
Sometimes we try to be a second version of Kitty, and there's only one Kitty. So no, but because young people just try to copy somebody else, and I don't believe that copy it's a good way to go. Everybody has to try and be the best version of themselves, with the good bits and the bad ones. But I think that that's what they need to aim. Just relax and be the best of what they can be. And the rest will come with experience, Kitty, because I remember in the last course, sometimes I see people with stroke and with spinal cord injuries, and you see them, as I said, I've been doing this for a long time, and you see that, patients are unfortunately are not going to get better. And sometimes I feel that it saddens me when the physio gets dragged into the patient's desperation, and physios start doing things that they shouldn't be. So the physio should be the voice of reason and the guiding. And sometimes the physio end up doing strange things because the patients, once how many times younger physios have walked patients that they shouldn't have been walked. And this is something that experience will always only tell you, sorry, when is the time to do it and when not. Experience is not something that can be taught. Unfortunately, it has to be learned and go through. So I would like just to say to young physios, listen to the older physios, they know better. Being a younger physio, didn't listen to anybody. So why would I think that now they will? So
great. Yeah, I think we should be all the time as a human being very authentic, and the patient can feel this, and the same thing is if you know what you are doing and if you understand what you are doing. I think this is the most important as well for me also. And
actually, I think it transpires.
Yeah, and this is our task, to teach the participants from the very beginning that they need to understand. And that's great. Thanks a lot. So great.
How did you decide to be a physio, Kitty?
Oh, it's not my interview. but
we're just talking. We're spilling all my beans.
Yeah, Fernanda, it's so interesting. A lot of the interview partners, a lot of the instructors was saying a little bit like you. Some, they say, was kind of accident. So accident really physically, or accident they plan to do something else and then they get pushed from whatever, or they did not know what to do. But it was interesting. I get really thrilled when I was, I guess, 14 or 15. I know this because I had the twins all the time stay in my life. So I have girl twins as a girlfriend, and the mom was PT, a very early PT. And I was so impressed from her, from the personality, from everything. And I was thinking, I would like to be like this person. And then it was not easy to start as a PT because at my time we have 1,000 people application for the PT school, but they only choose 25 from this 1,000.
Get out.
So I didn't have the chance in the beginning. And then I applied to do studying social work because I was thinking, okay, if they don't like me, I have to do something else with people. But then I applied, the last chance was the number 4 school, and they accepted me. Yes. And
it's funny because we never talk about that. We talk about a lot of things about life and lots of things here.
Yes.
We talk about how we became physios anyway.
So for me, it was clear, and I'm so happy till today to be able to work, and the work is changed in my life, but still being PT and still love to teach and still love to serve for the IPNFA, and
Yeah.
it's like
I
this.
think that the import. I guess something you said triggered me, because I remember one of the first courses that I took when I graduated from physio was a course that I remember clearly, because it was the instructor was so strict and so rigid, and there was just like no time for question. And I remember thinking, well, this is not my style. I don't learn well in this environment. And you've seen me, like, and actually, the last group in Mexico were telling me, you are nothing like what you look in Instagram. And I said, like, well, it's supposed to be a professional, serious sort of style.
Yes.
I believe that, like, the fact that we have physios that they come and they want just to, they already put the time to learn. It's already half of the job done. So for the rest, it has to be just like relax. We have to create an environment in which they can ask whatever thing they come to the head. The questions that they never dare to ask anywhere else. And then it's just like, and we celebrate together and we laugh together and we just like, I don't know, we just do bananas together. But it's always a very good it's a good atmosphere. So I still enjoy, after 20 plus years, I still enjoy teaching PNF like the first year. So it's very rewarding. And I think the part that is the most rewarding, Kitty, is because we can do things with patients and we know we're going to be successful. But there's nothing, Kitty, that gets my heart as warm as when you see them and the happiness in their face when they manage to make the patient better.
Yes.
So nothing replaces that as a physio, as an old physio, like, because we will never take any belongings with us, but what we will take with us are going to be our memories. And the faces and the happiness when they say, and they maintain what they gained yesterday. So this level of satisfaction that you can actually make them achieve, because they have the tools, they have the brains. You're only just like, organizing them a bit. And that when you see them so happy and thriving and achieving another colleague, it's just that nothing beats that up, Kitty.
Absolutely.
It's just phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Yes, and there is a lot of research about all this, the atmosphere, the positive expectation, I'm saying all the time, our placebo effect is that we believing to make our patient better, right? And this is so helpful, even if you are treating your own patient or if you're teaching and give this idea to the participants. Yeah, you are totally right. Totally right. Yes. That's so great. So, and I can't ask you, because this was such a great sentence of already.
Kitty, it's you and I talking. So when you and I, when we meet each other non-stop, seriously.
Right, yeah. But most of the time when we come to an end, I ask for sure if there is something more you like to say. But I guess you said now the important stuff, and this is really great. This is really important. Yeah.
I thank you for taking the time with me. I'm thankful for my family, that they have always supported me in this career. It has, like, as I said, I started in South America, so financially, emotionally has been hard. I have been blessed with having the best sister in the whole universe that has been, still is, a constant source of support and love. my family, my partner, so my parents, the physios that I met along the way. So I guess I've been blessed, Kitty.
Great,
So
thanks.
with a positive approach, I want to thank everybody that I have ever met in the
Yes.
PNF world.
Yeah.
They all brought something to the course or to my life, or a comment or a picture. So I'm thankful for what PNF has brought to my life and to my career, and because I was managed, just to transit this difficult pathway, being a physio, and I met wonderful people, and I know it's going to sound corny, but you're one of them. So, and there's wonderful people within the IPNFA. I made good friends. So count the blessings. So thank you very much. Being positive and count my blessings. Thank you, Kitty Cat.
Thanks. It's a great pleasure for me to make this interview, and I thank you very much for the time, and I'm looking forward to teach with you later on.
Of course. Soon.
in this life, yeah, and
Yes.
yeah, I have to say, stay healthy, also your family,
Yes.
and
Yes.
thanks a lot for your time. Thanks.
Thanks, Kitty.